Good afternoon, evening, morning, friends, whenever you're watching this video. I'm really glad you're here today. And what we're going to talk about is a little bit a longer topic. So we're going to do things differently this week. Instead of having 3 videos, we're going to do one and then continue to break that down via post the rest of the week. But what we're going to talk about is if we don't make some space and we don't yield, then we're not able to be unconnected or unblended from the story, that there is no good here, that we can't be okay, that we can't be safe, and then we'll continue to see food and body as the threat. So my apologies, a little not congested, but a little bit something right now. I'm not sure what this is, but anyway, I was thinking a lot today about the truth. What is the truth versus what we think is true, but really maybe it's just a story. And a lot of that's having to do with, obviously, programming, trauma responses, things like that. And before I kind of talk about the meat of this topic here, a couple reminders. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Tracy Brown. I'm a somatic nutrition therapist and a tuned eating expert. Just want to remind people that who are new to this channel. And then number 2 is that if you're still having if you don't really have set what your plans are for feeling well nourished, if you're in the United States and we have Thanksgiving this week, if you don't have a plan for feeling nourished emotionally and feeling nourished with food tangibly, please make sure you watch some of my videos from 2 weeks ago. We went into a lot of detail about like the different components of what can help us feel like we're not all over the place, we're not doing autopilot behaviors and thought processes and just overall in like anxiety and dread, basically. So if you haven't already watched those, you can either go to my YouTube channel and watch those, or just kind of scroll back to 2 weeks ago, which would be 2 weeks from November 22nd. You could do that. So just want to make sure everybody has the resources that they need. And then number 3, I'm going to put a link below to just a really small offering that I've put out usually almost every year around holiday eating and just feeling supported. So some of you may already have that. Please go back and look at it. For those who don't, it's linked below and you can get access to that and get some support. So let's go ahead and dive back in. Is that, a lot of times we enter some of these weeks, I'll use the example of Thanksgiving in the United States, but you could use this for any time that you kind of have to gather, that you're going to be around people that there's a challenging relationship with, let's say, or that we just have a challenging relationship with past experiences of those events. So it could be holidays, birthdays, just times of year where things are difficult. And I think it's really important to recognize that the story of those people, that food, those relationships with food, the house you were in, maybe it's the house you were in when you first started restricting or binging or whatever it is, it's not that in now time that we don't have the resources to find safety. It's that we often use autopilot responses as protection from those uncomfortable or too much or not enough or bad things happening to us again. So until we learn and commit and have a focus on like, how do I yield? How do I separate myself from those autopilot responses of under eating, of event restricting, of even the thoughts of like telling myself that like people will look at my food and everybody's judging me, everybody's watching. Those are statements that are programming. Those behaviors are programming. And we get programming by being in like overwhelming, too uncomfortable circumstances where there's no escape, no protection, no relief, no healing, no repair. And our brain will then look for things that are very similar to that in now time to signal, get back those old protection strategies, disembody, get out of here, obsess. And then we turn like something that's in now time that we might have more love or support or care for, and those old behaviors aren't congruent with adult normative behavior anyway, or values, but we do it anyway, and then we get frustrated with ourselves. What I think that we really need to recognize is that if we don't, this goes back to my videos 2 weeks ago, if we don't have a plan and a focus for aligning with the truth in now time, we are always going to keep reenacting the ways in which we tried to get protection in memory time. And that's it. So it's going to happen with your food choices. So for one person, it might look like, this is what everybody did at Thanksgiving. You know, it's like, don't eat that food. And let's see here. Yeah, because you got to save up room for the meal. And it's like, well, who says we have to do what everybody else has done for the last 20 years in this family, which is event restrict and basically make this National Binging Day? We don't have to do that, even though that's what you're used to. And that's not aligned with your values of like making this just another day of really delicious food that you get to partake in, and you don't not eat enough, bottom line. And but we have to have some space to recognize that who's going to be there and what foods are going to be there, and or the house it's going to be in, or the lack of escape that maybe you think that you can't ask for, or boundaries that you can't set, are indicators that like you're little again, or you're a little bit older than littler, or you're a little bit older but still afraid to not people please. We tend to do even though we don't want to do. So I think it's really important to get clear and take some time to yield, feet seated back in your chair, have something that's like supporting you and that's got your back, that's underneath you, that you can rely on so that you can act from a place of clarity and reach, and then take in a better, more agencyed, satisfying embodied experience. So that's what I want for you all this week. And if you haven't had time to sit down and look through my resources, please do so. But I was thinking about what to be thankful for and grateful for, and I got a lot of things. And I was, gonna do like a thankfulness, gratefulness video today, but it's like, it's hard to get to the thankful and the grateful until we can yield and look at like what we are. Sometimes it's like we feel safer when we can just access those things. Why can't people access and orient to the good? It's because there's too much in threat response. Now, if you're like, I'm able to be grateful for certain things, but in other ways, my body is still acting and my behaviors still indicate that I'm still struggling, with like feeling dread or overwhelm or raciness or buzziness, and I'm basically in a hyperactivated state. That tells us that some part of us is still not feeling like there's enough safety to yield. And so I know how frustrating it is to feel that incongruence of like how you're feeling and what you know versus how you're acting. And the homework really is can you meet those parts of you that still feel afraid, even if you're not in those circumstances, and really, really do the work of unenmeshment with the trauma parts. That's all there is, right? And then practice something new and bring that level of support to that. So I know this is pretty in-depth stuff, but it's really hard to stay solid in the thankfulness and the gratefulness and the safety when you can't feel like something's there for you. If you can't feel it inside, it doesn't feel real. And then we'll go into like what we're used to. And that's the bottom line. So I hope this video encouraged you, taught you something. Even if it feels a little convicting, it's not meant to like you're doing something wrong. It's like, what is missing? What is it you need to feel, I'm going to use the neurobiological terms, like activation would be like fight or flight, kind of anxious feeling, impending doom kind of stuff. Sometimes people tell me that they're depressed. It's like, oh, is it more like melancholy, like dread and like not shut down, but like defeated kind of feeling, but not really depressed. And if you're feeling that way, that's dorsal. That means that something in now time is reminding your body of something in memory time that may or not be happening, or there's like slivers of it are kind of familiar, but you also have way more support now to meet that, to keep your window open, or to even provide glimmers to have a different experience in similar situations. So there's a lot that I could say, but it's really important to take some time. If you're in the United States and you're doing Thanksgiving, these are the 3 days that we doing this work. Just at least have a little bit of stability under you. If you're in another place and you don't celebrate Thanksgiving like we do, or a different time of year that you do, use this information for the next shift in semester, or use it for your job change, or use it for like different holidays that are coming up, or whatever. If you know that like a certain date you typically struggle with because of some event, use this information to help you there, so that you have something else to orient to besides the food behaviors being a faux window of safety. So thank you all so much. I'm going to put some links below that might help you, and then the rest of the week we're just going to kind of pull out pieces from this video to give you reminders to keep at this, to like make this your new normal, this way of thinking, this way of like orienting to yourself and growth. So thank you all so much for watching, and for those of you who I'm going to be seeing in the next couple days, I can't wait to see you. For those of you that like were here online, and I'd love to see your comments below, or you can private message me of what's feeling good, what's feeling too much or not enough, and what the barrier is. And those are things that we can work on and through in this space. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a really great day and week, and I will talk to you next video. Bye for now.